Here we go, beef plate ribs off the smoke box. Check these things out. Can't tell people how good these are.
Oh. So we're gonna start off today with our plate ribs here. These are from certified Angus beef. They're also known as dino ribs.
Hey, question for you.
Yeah.
What kind of watch does a dinosaur wear?
I have no idea what kind.
Fossil.
You're such a dork. Okay. Sorry, the dad joke kind of got me. The plate ribs here, they're called plate ribs. They come from the ribs 6, 7, and 8 on the cow, which is right below the ribeye, which is why their fat content is higher. This cut of meat is so rich and so beefy, and it's just an amazing cut.
So why do we like these so much? What's some history with us and these plate ribs?
So these plate ribs, I'm so glad you asked. These plate ribs got us second place at the Jack Daniel's World Invitational. We served them up with some jacked up sweet potatoes, and I think it awed the judges because we got a barrel head from it.
We'll put a picture in the video of that plate that we did.
Yeah, for sure. You ready
should
to
we get into
started?
these things?
I think so. The certified Angus pack that we're doing today, it comes in a 2-pack, so not all of them do. But this was perfect for us because then I can attack one and Brad can attack the other. So.
She don't eat meat, but she sure like the bone. Oh yeah. Rawr.
All right, Brad.
All right, so
Talk to us.
when I'm cleaning these up and getting them ready to here, this is the very top. I'm gonna take every bit of this fat off. And right through here, there's a real thick strip of silver skin. I want that off too. We want meat. We want it to be pretty. On the back, there is a pretty thick membrane on here. Do not remove that membrane. This is going to help hold that meat to the bone. It'll crisp up. It won't affect the end product. So, basically all I do is I just start coming in here and carving some off. You see, I'm not taking much. I might get into a little meat, but it's okay. Are we racing?
No. No, not at all. Because you'll win. That's why you want to race.
Uh-huh.
So it was funny when we were talking about setting this shot up and how we were going to be doing this. We had to think about the fact that I'm left-handed, so that we weren't like cutting into each other. I'm over here on this side so that I don't have to worry about that. Or he doesn't have to worry about it.
So I am putting a little bit of this good fat in here, and I'll throw it on the smoker at the same time I throw these on, and we'll see if we can render out a little tallow for later. So one thing we always make sure is that we have sharp knives. Sharp knives are safer than dull knives all day long, less frustrating as well. Don't want to have an injury with a slip. And when I come in here to get the silver skin, I just take the tip of that knife and just work it underneath the silver skin. And once I get it in there, I'll take the blade and I'll barely lift it. These plate ribs, they have a thicker membrane on the outside of that silver skin than most cuts you'll be used to. Like a brisket has a thin membrane on it. This one's thicker and tougher. Sometimes on a brisket you can get away with leaving that membrane. I would not advise that on beef ribs. So as I remove that, look at that marbling in there. So this is going to be just tasty as can be. I can't wait. I think about 5 hours to cook them. A couple hours to rest.
Wow, yours is super marbled. Look at that.
Yeah, there's really good marbling in that.
Let's kind of show them the difference here between the two racks. It's a pretty drastic difference. Like that one's almost marbled like a Wagyu brisket would be.
Mm-hmm.
So Wagyu briskets just have a higher fat content than your primes. So these are certified Angus primes, but that one's marbled for days. And like Brad said, we're not doing anything to the backs here, so the backs still look exactly the same. All right.
Season them up. What do you think?
Yep.
All right.
I think we should.
We'll do it. All right, so the rub we used on these beef ribs back in October of 23 at the Jack, we used the Smokin' Magic rib rub. Heard it's pretty good. Put that on, and I put a pretty generous coat on. We're going to call that a medium to a heavy coat. And I'm just covering the sides and the top.
So something to note about our rib rub, it is phenomenal on beef. So we use it on anything beef, which is why we're putting it on our beef plate ribs. So we use it on our brisket for competition and at home. We use it on steaks, on hamburgers. So it's phenomenal for anything beef as well as pork. And we only season the top, right, babe? Because the bottom's got that membrane.
Yep, that is correct. So the other one, good friend of ours, Mr. Josh DeWitt with JDQ. We used his JDQ Spicy on the top, probably a light to medium coat. There's not a lot of heat in this, but some really good flavor and some really good color coming out of this. All right.
This is taking me back, babe. Taking me back.
So we've got them covered just how we want. I'm going to leave them sit here on the counter for maybe 30, 45 minutes. Let that rub sweat in, work in, and then we'll get them on the smoke box, put them to bed.
So we put the rubs on them and let them sit and come to room temp for about an hour. What we're looking for is, as you can see, the rub area here looks wet. This is exactly what we want it to do. If you're short on time and don't have an hour to let it naturally do that process by itself, you can also use duck fat. You can put just even water in a spray bottle and mist them. You never want to rub around, just pick up and pat if you're gonna do that. But these guys are ready to go on the pit. We've got our Hooray grill here set up at 300 degrees. So I'm gonna move them over here. We're gonna put the thicker side here towards the back of the smoker. All right, we've got them nestled in there. Stay tuned. We'll show you some nice in the process shots. All right, guys, so we're at the 1 hour mark. We just kind of want to check it out and see how things are going. So let's take a look. Oh my, those are looking pretty. I can tell right now that the rubs still look wet, so they're not set up yet and dry to where when I touch them, they're not gonna move. So definitely still gonna keep them going there. And ooh, look at that. Our tallow's even looking really nice right around now too. All right, we'll check back in an hour. So now we're at the 3 hour mark, and man, are they looking good. So let's show you what we got. Okay, so exciting. Let's temp them just to kind of see where they're at right now. All right, they're sitting at about 180 on that guy and about 175 on that one. At this point, I'm gonna kind of look and see what spots need rub on them. Okay, like right in here, it kind of looks a little light, so I'm gonna add just a little sprinkle here. Some over here on the side as well. Add that in. I'm going to do the same thing over here, just to kind of cover any spots that may have kind of moved off while cooking. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn them around now. So I'm going to put the bones towards the back. She's a beaut, Clark. She's a beaut. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Looks amazing. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit of the spray butter and we're going to spray them pretty heavily, just to keep them nice and moist through the cook. Alrighty. Now, looking pretty good. We're gonna let them ride.
All right, it's time to get this thing wrapped. So what we're gonna do now, we've had some homemade au jus here that we've been warming up in the smoker.
We like to use beef broth. and kind of keep it simple and let the meat speak for itself so you taste that meat. What we wrap our beef in is we use the Better Than Bouillon beef paste. And so I've just got that mixed up in here. So you can use any kind of beef stock that you have. I just like the Better Than Bouillon because it's got a little bit bolder flavor profile. Goes really well with brisket and anything beef. So we're gonna use that today on the butcher paper to just kind of wet it a little bit.
Put some moisture down.
Yeah, so that it will, twofold. It helps keep the brisket moist while it is resting. And then also it will make the paper more pliable so that when we wrap it up, we'll be able to move the paper a little easier. We're not gonna wrap this and put this back on the smoker. The ribs are done at this point. We smoked them unwrapped straight on the smoker for the whole time. And what we're doing here is just doing this wrap for the rest period.
Look at that.
Look at that. Oh my gosh, isn't that
Look at
beautiful?
that bark, it's nice and set up.
Oh,
Got the probe.
probe tender, baby.
Like butter.
Looks amazing.
So we're just gonna layer in there. Actually, I'm gonna put her meat side
Oh
down.
gosh, let me slide this off here so you
So
can.
with these, gotta be a little bit careful because the bones will poke through. I'm gonna fold it once, fold it a second time, and I'm gonna roll in, smooth them out. I'm gonna fold, tuck, and roll. Sounds like a song, doesn't it?
And what we have here is an insulated grocery bag that you can use anything like this, or a Cambro, you can use a cooler. And we've got, we just put a foil pan down on the bottom of it to keep it contained any juices that might leak out. We're gonna zip it up. Now we're gonna let it rest for what, about 2 hours?
About 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so, just on another note, it was probe tender, but we were sitting around 206, 208 on there. If you were to wrap these and accelerate through that stall that this has, it stalled on us for about 2.5 hours, but we were fine with that. We wanted to build that big, beautiful bark on it. But if we would have braised it through that stall, wrapped it and put it through a braise, it probably would have went up to probably 210, 211 before we got that probe tender. But since we set it on there and we left it unwrapped and let it render, the finish temp was down from where it would normally be. So just take note of that.
Just base it more off of probe tenderness than actual temperature. And while these are resting, we're gonna do the same for the second rack.
Beef plate ribs off the smoke box. Check these things out. It's a thing of beauty. Thing of beauty. Let's get them cut up. Check this girl out. Wow. Look at that. Just makes me want to go nom nom nom.
Oh my gosh, it looks amazing, babe.
Well, what do you say? Bon appetit.
All right, literally, right? Bon appetit. Cheers. Oh my gosh. Oh, the beef flavor. Holy cow. I'm gonna go back in for another bite.
I'm just hoping something's left in my beard for later. Wow. Well, you know what? It's been a long day. Pretty successful day.
I would say so.
You know, every good cook should end with a nice cocktail. It's not even a cocktail, just a good beverage. So I'm gonna have a Holiday Distillery soft red wheat bourbon.
I got me some Five Farms Irish cream, baby.
Cheers.
Cheers, hon.
Happy smoking, guys.
Oh, that's really good.